Right, so in this video I'm going to be drawing a small castle. The link is in the description to the photo I'm using. And here I'm just quickly blocking in a space for it in my sketchbook and adding a few perspective lines. Otherwise I just tend to go out of proportion if I don't do this. I'm also gonna block in the towers and divide it into thirds almost, so I don't make one thing bigger than the other, and just the general proportions are kept. Now I kind of got off to a rough start here. I'm not that great with pen, but then that's just more reason to practice. And it doesn't really matter if we're rough, like if we make a couple mistakes like I did there. It's not that round. Those will kind of fade away as you add detail, and there's some tricks later to kind of help hide some of those. I'm also adding some rough random lines where the castle is dirty, but I'm not going to draw in the individual bricks. And you can see me, I'm going here from the foreground to the background. It's much easier this way because you don't have to think about stopping your pen before you hit a foreground element. So I'm going to do one side. I'm going to go from that tower and do one side and then switch to the other side. And here with these little windows, to kind of show the depth, I did because they're sunk in if you look at the image. So I did some quick U's for the window, and then with two little lines kind of displaced to one side, you can show the depth. Again, before I started on this on this wall, I did that piece that was sticking out, like the entrance. Here is the little windows again. And on castles, it's kind of nice that these are at uneven heights from the other walls or the other towers. They're not at the same height, so there's kind of some variation in the window, so you have some space for error. And here we are going into the furthest most tower. And for this, it's just I kept the detail kind of even because the photo I could see most of the castle, so there wasn't any problems like there was with the house. Still, you'll see later I create more depth by varying the line width. Right now I'm just using the 0.1 Rotring pen, so everything's even. And here I kind of messed up. I went ahead and did that tower in the back, and I misjudged the height. So there's a line later that is a bit too large. So I kind of should have done this backwards. It's still possible, as you can see, but there's more room for error. And although I'm not decreasing the detail or anything, I'm being a bit rougher with where they are on this side, especially because it's in shadow and you can't really actually tell what's going on. Anyways, you guys just see I actually lengthened the line to both sides so that it kind of looked like a construction line. And now I've grabbed the 0.4, which I think is the largest number I have for these pens, and I am thickening the line a bit, and I'm going to go even further in a bit with the larger Faber-Castell black pen marker. So here I'm not thickening everything, and I'm making sure to thicken these elements in the foreground the most. So whatever I want to draw attention to, I thicken. If there's any lines that went overly wrong, again, I'll thicken them to draw attention to the correct line instead of the wrong one. Any elements in the background I kind of leave alone. And I did fill in some of the windows because a lot of the castle is in shadow. So I'm going to, in this one, I'm going to use the gray marker to fill in the shadow instead of the detail of the windows. Anyways, you can see me here using the thicker marker, and I still kind of there's a line there in that tower in the foreground that's still a bit wobbly, but because the marker tended to follow the line of the pen. But oh well, like, there's not much else I can do about it. If I made it too thick, then it draws too much attention, so I just decided to leave it alone. And here you can see I'm progressively using thinner and thinner lines as the castle goes into the background. Here I'm shading the little tiny windows because those were more in shadow instead of, they weren't actually windows, they were like, I'm not sure what those are called. I'm not an expert in castle anatomy. And here I'm just shading a bit everywhere where I see some dark shadows, and now I've grabbed some water to lighten the pen up a bit, and I'm going to start going from this left side to the right, from the light areas to the darker ones, just because it's easier to handle the pen that way, because you can't go from dark to light. With the water, you're going from light to dark. And I came into some problems here with the pen a bit because this is a larger castle and the pen is quite small, so it's a bit harder to fill in large areas of shadow. One solution was to just keep dipping it to kind of blend, but that didn't work very well. You can see here I'm dipping it and trying to blend in those three areas. In the end, you don't really notice it because the castle's dirty, and I kind of take advantage of that to add some character to it, but it was a bit inconvenient. And in this particular drawing, I'm going to add some sideways lines, some horizontal lines to indicate both wear and the bricks. But I'm not going to do all the individual bricks. I'm going to add just a few, like you see here, just a small spattering of bricks. But the light wasn't making them very visible, so I don't want to add too many, but I do want to hint that they're there. And here, again, I kind of messed up, so I just made that part of the roughness, and then I put in that kind of core shadow near the windows to kind of hide those stronger pen marks I did before, indicating the wear. And then on this side, I didn't go to a lighter shade. I'm still dipping the pen just to blend, but most of the side of the castle is in shadow, so since it's all in shadow, you don't have that much contrast, and you're not really going to draw the eye there with the darkness. You're by like putting all of this side in shadow, instead what's drawing the eye shading wise is more the light on the front and the thickness of the lines. And then lastly here, I'm going to add some lines, some shading, because it's like there's a moat around it, so there's all just water. I'm not going to draw in the entire water, just lightly hint at it, so it's not such an empty drawing. And I'm going to very, very lightly add a hint at some trees. And that's it. That's the drawing for today. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Otherwise, if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe.